I'm going to start by talking about who I'm not. I think that might be a better thing to do. My name's David Benek, that I am. But what am I not? The first thing is I'm not a speaker. I was somebody when I was younger, I didn't speak up. I wasn't somebody that would want to come to the front of the class and stand in front of people. That wasn't me. So I'm not a speaker, but I found something I want to talk about. If you want to put it that way. I'm not a teacher, but I do instruct people. I would never call myself a teacher because I think that that's something that I hold in kind of higher regard. So I don't want to call that, and say that I've gone through a lot of training to become a teacher. But I am an instructor in this one topic. So, when I started, I wasn't a contractor. I didn't even work for a contractor. And yet I've worked on 500 or 5,000 construction sites now. So, I wasn't one that was somebody who was, ready to sacrifice for others. And then I found something that was worth sacrificing for. So, the other thing was the buildings that I work on, they're not meant to be taken apart. They're meant to stay together, So what does that mean? It means that it's been a lot of hard work. It's been physically hard and mentally challenging to figure out how to do this work and how to do it efficiently. So, but the last thing I guess I'll say is I wasn't somebody who wanted change. I was somebody who wanted to kind of go along with the flow. I didn't want to stand out, and I didn't want to really do anything different than anybody else until I found something that was worth changing for. When I was at university, I needed an internship, and this was my internship. So I'm doing my 29-year internship as we speak. So, because I realized the importance of what we were doing. At the beginning we said we were going to save things from the landfill, and then we realized, what does that mean? What does that actually mean? So one of the things that it meant was, saving materials, saving energy, and then before you know it, we were saving people money, and we were providing materials to low-income families, and then we were saving history by preserving these materials that would be incorporated into historic renovation projects, and on and on and on. The story just kept going, and that's when I realized that I needed to stick with this. I needed to change, and it became a point, with climate change and things like that we were learning about as we went. I learned that it wasn't something I wanted to do anymore. It was something I needed to do, and it wasn't something where I could just do it and be happy with that. It was something where I needed other people to do it. Now, we've diverted 100 million pounds from the landfill, and that might sound like a lot, but in the end, it's just, here we are. The world has environmental problems, and that's despite me saving 100 million pounds. So what I realized is the 100 million pounds doesn't mean anything. It's like if I could get other groups to save 1 million pounds or 10 million pounds, and what does that really mean? It means I'm saving energy here, and we're saving resources over there, and we're not cutting that forest down. And so when we did, to help you understand, we kind of equated, like, how much wood have we saved? We save a lot of wood because buildings are made of wood. Not here so much, but in other parts of the world, buildings are made of wood. So we save a lot of wood, which we calculated up. It's 10,000 acres of standing forest. That's how many acres of forest we've saved by not cutting those trees down, by providing an alternative source of wood. And that made me feel happy. I was like, I can point to, I can understand 10,000 acres. I can look at a park, or I can look at a forest, and I can say, that's 10,000 acres, so we've saved that much, But that's just us, and that doesn't mean anything. Unless we can get other people to save their 10,000 acres of forest, right? So when we start talking about the landfill, it's like, okay, you didn't fill a hole in the ground, good for you. And it's like, no, we saved landfill space, but we also saved 10,000 acres, and then we helped 10,000 families that couldn't afford new materials, and on and on and on, right? So, but the thing is, we did all those things at the same time. We didn't just do one of those things. We did all of those things. So in an average week, we're saving history, we're helping families, we're providing jobs, we're saving the landfill space. So, but we're doing it all together. So that's why we're trying to get more people to do this kind of work. And that's why we need your help to get more people to do this kind of work. Okay? So you know what I'm not, and you know a little bit about what I am. This is my 29th year of doing this kind of work. We started training people in 2004. And now we have created over 500 jobs of people that are doing what I do. And I don't know how much they've saved, but it's adding up, And I've worked in 44 states and 4 provinces, and I've helped in like 9 different countries. And so I'm getting more and more experience in applying what I know to different areas, like the Virgin Islands. So the first trip I came here, I was struck by how beautiful the islands are. But one of the things about what I do over time is I can't look past the buildings, I'm analyzing buildings in my sleep, People ask like why I travel so much, and I came to the Virgin Islands, and we were doing some research. We were trying to find somebody like me here, somebody that is a contractor who has a warehouse full of used building materials, right? And is selling it to people that can't afford new, And we couldn't find anything just like that, something where they did all the different parts. We found like this person did a little of this and that person did a little of that, But and so my first trip here, I summarized in 2 words: challenge and opportunity. So that's going to be the theme today, okay? Challenge and opportunity. So the challenge, you see this image here, and you see there's such a variety of buildings, and a lot of them are made of concrete. And there's so many hills. There's so many hills here, and there's so, maybe a lack of space. Like if you were in Kansas or something like that, it would be flat, and there would be lots of room, and it wouldn't cost very much to have that room. So you could have materials stored there at little cost, and it wouldn't be like, I can't find a flat place to set this down. And so there's challenges here, right? It doesn't mean it can't be done, it just means there are challenges. So, but it also means that however I do it, if I was in Kansas, which I'm not, but if I was there, I might do it one way, and if I was here, I would do it another way. So, but one of the things we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what are the challenges to doing this here, and what are some of the opportunities. So, now, I'll just try to progress quickly, and maybe we'll try and catch up a little bit. But deconstruction is a systematic process where we're disassembling a structure. It doesn't mean we have to take the entire structure down, but it might be you're taking a garage down, and you take the whole thing apart from the top down, and it's gone. And when you're done, there's only concrete left. But in that process, you're trying to save everything you can that's reusable, and everything else you're trying to recycle. And if you can't get through that, then yeah, some of the material does get thrown away. But that's happening now, right? When you demolish a building, all of it is getting thrown away. So it feels like when I think of what is demolition to me, demolition is like you're paying someone to destroy your property, and then you go out the next day and you buy it all over again. Because you know, a lot of the people that I work for, or a lot of people that are doing demolition, they're demolishing something so they can build something. And so they take their possessions and throw them away and pay somebody to do that, so then they can go pay somebody else to buy all their stuff all over again. So we do value demolition when it's necessary, like a building, you know, like concrete, or a building is really unsafe, that kind of thing, or it's fire damage, you know, stuff like that. But deconstruction is a really valuable service. I was just here for like, I don't know, 1 hour the first trip, and I saw this stack of wood, and I was like, hey, there's some wood you could save. And everybody said, oh, wait a minute, what about the termites? And I said, okay, so challenge and opportunity. We have slopes and we have termites. We've got at least 2 challenges already. And I've only been here an hour, you know. And it's like, okay, well, we know not to store things like this, is what we know. And so we know that if we have a resource that's valuable, we need to take care of it. We need to preserve it, and you know, and a lot of people I talk to, you know, are dealing with termites. They're either dealing with them because there is an infestation, or they are treating for them. And I went to the lumber yard, and almost all of the wood is treated wood. So there's a reason for that. So we got challenges and opportunities. We're going to keep sprinkling those in this presentation. But I was talking to you about why I do deconstruction, and the word sustainability is something that I value that word, and I don't underestimate that word. So, and a lot of people talk about sustainability. You hear it all the time now, right? It's really common. So if I were to say that I've watched hundreds and hundreds of demolition projects, and I've been involved in thousands of deconstruction projects. And demolition, it's a very efficient and fast process that, you know, that its job is to remove a structure. Let's just say we're talking about a structure, you know, and it's to remove that structure quickly and efficiently. And there's no real regard for saving anything or for the environment, you know? Like, it's all about speed and cost. And then the deconstruction is all about the environment and helping people, you know? And so demolition might result in saving absolutely nothing from the landfill, and providing no community benefit whatsoever. It provided a service, it removed a building. Well, guess what? Deconstruction, we provide a service, we remove a building, okay? Those two cancel out. Both sides, they cancel out. But we provide an environmental benefit because we didn't waste things, we didn't fill the landfill up, we did provide affordable building materials to people who need them, and we did save history, and we did a number of things. We created more jobs. Demolition, you might only have one person working for like one day, and there might be 2 people there. There might be one person for 2 days, whatever it is, and not very many jobs. And there's no real community benefit there. But we might hire 10 people, and they work for 4 days or something like that. Well, that's a lot more jobs than this other option. And you could say, well, we're not really hurting for jobs, or maybe we can't, people don't want to do these jobs. So I think that we've had some success getting people to do these jobs when they understand that they're important jobs. They're not just a job, and there's a benefit for it. And so those are some of the differences. And it actually leads into this slide right here, which is, what is sustainability, And so deconstruction is one way to get to sustainability. I don't use that term like other people do, where they throw it around. They're like, I'm a sustainability manager for some company or something like that. And I'm like, well, I'm doing all of that I'm doing it, and I'm realizing that I'll never get to see sustainability in my lifetime, right? I don't believe that, up to my standard, I will ever get to see sustainability happen in my lifetime, and that doesn't keep me from trying. So I'm still trying, and because I know that if we're ever going to be a sustainable society, somebody has to try, and it can't just be me, you know. It has to be everybody. In fact, it has to involve everybody. So guess what? I involve everybody. Like, I don't just go to this rich neighborhood and you know, where these people have money to spend on sustainability, right? Because they want to feel better about themselves or something like that. And they want to spend the money to seem like they're sustainable. That's not sustainable. I'm going to go to every neighborhood, and I'm going to try and do every building, whether it's a good building or it's a rough building, and whether it's a rich neighborhood or a poor neighborhood, it doesn't matter, you know. And I'm going to try and employ people so we can get more people involved. So people, that's a big part of it, right? The planet, that's a big part of it. We've talked about how we're saving resources, trees, energy, all of that kind of thing. But then profit, you know, a lot of times people kind of leave that out, the profit side of things. It's like you can't leave it out. And what we're trying to do, folks, is we're trying to do this, and we're trying to create profitable businesses that can do this. Not government-funded businesses, but profitable businesses that exist on their own. They are just like every other business. You know, they've got to pay the bills, and they've got to pay their employees, and they've got to pay their taxes, and they can do that, and they don't need to have government subsidies to do that. They are providing a service, and they get paid for that. And then they sell the material, and they get paid for that. You see? They get paid twice. That's how I make this work. I get paid twice. And it sounds like, well, it isn't that profitable, you know, but it does work, because I get paid twice. So, and the fact is, I don't know if I have a slide for that, but I have caught a glimpse of sustainability, and I call it a glimpse of sustainability. I've caught a glimpse of it. I'm not saying that we've achieved it, but I did get a look at it. And it's every time I do, it keeps me going, and we're going to talk more about that later. You know, where I live, and probably here too, they have building permits that are called demolition permits. And they have building permits and demolition permits. Why? So you're already calling it a demolition permit. You see? You pre-programmed it. Like, everybody's like, oh yeah, I need a demolition permit. Because, why? Because they assume you're going to demolish the building. They don't call it a deconstruction permit. So some of the cities that I'm working with are starting to call them deconstruction permits. They have a demolition permit as well, or you can get a deconstruction permit. It's a different thing. And so as time goes by and we keep pushing, maybe, you know, once you say to someone there's an option, then they go, oh, I never even realized that. And I just got a comment from that on one of my last presentations. The categories of deconstruction, you know, I'm just going to keep rolling here. So we've got, what is deconstruction? Well, we said we're saving things. You know, we're always trying to save materials for reuse first, and then recycling. You could have a full building deconstruction. That means that that house that we saw that had fallen off its foundation and it was sitting on the side of the slope, which is crazy, that whole building is going to go away, and that would be full deconstruction. All the way from the roof all the way to the ground is gone. Full deconstruction. And we could do that all by hand if we wanted. We could also do it where we have some equipment helping us and we do things by hand. Like, we're not going to remove flooring or kitchen cabinets by machine, right? We're going to use that hand do that. but we could clean up things with a machine, you know, like piles of debris that get loaded into a dumpster. We could do that with a machine, you know, and we can move things like pallets of wood. We can move that around with a forklift. That's a machine. So, so there's different ways of doing it. You can do it by hand. You could do it partially with a machine. You could take it all the way down. You could just take part of it down. Like maybe part of the building was damaged and is removed. The rest of it stays. So they call that selective deconstruction. And, you know, something that's really common where I am is that somebody's like, they're saying, you know what, I've already, you know, they say, I want to do deconstruction, but it takes too long, sorry. Or maybe it costs too much. Or maybe they assume it does, you know. And so then they just say, can you just come in and just take whatever you want and leave whatever you don't want? And at least we'll have done something, you know. And you don't pay us and we won't pay you. So that might be like non-structural salvage. We call it salvage work. So so there are these different categories, these different levels. Okay, now the theme is opportunity and challenge, and I want to say challenge and opportunity is probably better. So, you know, when I did my survey and I went to the lumber yards and everything like that, it looked like almost all of the wood that I was seeing was treated wood. And there are different opinions about saving treated wood in other areas. They might say, well, you shouldn't save treated wood because that's got chemicals in it, and you know, you should just throw that away. And I'm like, here's what happens when you throw treated wood away. Somebody goes out and buys more treated wood. Okay, think about that for a minute. You throw treated wood away. I mean, treated wood that's in good shape. You know, you throw it away, and then the person that needs it has to go to the store and they have to make more treated wood and sell it to that person. Instead of buying it from me. If they bought it from me, then they would not need to make more treated wood. Now there's twice as much treated wood in the world with chemicals in it, right? Because I threw mine away and they had to go buy new material. So, so we do sell treated wood because we don't want companies making any more of it than is necessary. Because now there's like billions of pieces of treated wood in the world because nobody saved the old stuff, and they just have to keep making it and keep making it and keep making it. And now it's everywhere, and it's in all the landfills, right? So it's an opportunity though. Like the thing is, when we sell treated wood, it's more expensive than when we sell regular wood, because it's more expensive to buy it new, and therefore it's more expensive to buy it used. And so that means that every board we handle is worth more, and if that board has like 5 nails in it, and it takes us 5 minutes to deal with that board, and it's worth $5. But if it was treated wood, it took 5 nails, 5 minutes, and it's worth $7, you see? So it's actually worth more money. And that's an opportunity. So that's like one. I was trying to think of something that's good here, you know, and it's like if you have treated wood, as you know, then the wood is worth more, and that means that you're getting more money for your time that you invest in things. So yeah, there are a lot of steps to deconstruction. We're going to get into those steps more, but you know, the first thing is I do a lot of this. What do people do? They give me a call and they email me or whatever. They say, I've got a project. Will you come look at it? Yes, I will go look at it. I look at a lot of projects, and sometimes I don't do them, but I still try to advise them about like, oh, you could recycle this, or you should save that, and yeah, maybe the building, because it's burned, it had a fire, you know, and I'm like, that's really unfortunate, you know, but here are some options for that, but also that deck that was outside that's made of Trex, it looks like it's fine, you know, it's intact because the fire didn't reach that part, so let's try and save that, you know. But the main thing is I go to the site and I assess the buildings. You know, I assess the structures because I have to look at them. I can't look at construction plans, and that's not going to help me. I need to actually physically go to the building and look at it and do an assessment or, you know, materials audit, as they say here. Then I'm going to go back to the office and I'm going to put a bid together, right? I'm going to figure out what is my budget, like what's it going to cost me, and what do I need to charge them. And I come up with three main things, and we'll get into this more. But I'm going to say, here's what I'll do, here's what I won't do, and here's what I need you to do as the building owner. So now that's part of, you know, the project plan is like, it's all kind of blends together. You know, the bid that I'm submitting to them is here's a number, and here's what I will do for that number. Here's what I will not do, and here's what I need you to do, but here's the number, right? Here's the cost. And then I also might tell them how long I think that will take. But, so I have a plan of how the project's going to work. And that means, like, how am I going to take the building down? What other things need to happen? Like, the electricity has to be turned off and stuff like that. And then how am I going to haul things away? And where are all the things going? So I have a plan, hopefully. And then I implement that plan, and that's the implementation side of it. And we have multiple steps that are part of that plan and or part of that implementation, and we'll get into that as well. So, and then we close out. We're done with the building, we're done with the job, so then we close it out. The owner comes over usually, they take a look, oh, it looks good. Okay, then we finish hauling our material away, we send them an invoice, we get paid. But what kind of salvage potential is it? Is there anything of value? Like these ceiling tiles, are they worth anything? You know, I don't know. I keep looking at them, counting them, wondering how I'm going to remove them. But maybe that's not the best example. We'll find out. So, and then it's the salvage value and the salvage potential. So we're going to talk about what that means. But you know, basically, I said there's two ways that we get paid twice, right? And if we only get paid to take the building down, it's really, really hard to compete with demolition. But we get paid twice, and that makes it easier for us to compete with demolition pricing. And so, but that means that the material has to be worth something, and somebody has to be willing to pay you that money. So we also want to learn, if we go to look at a building, I want to know, how is that building put together? Is it a wood building? Is it concrete? Is it steel? I mean, here it's going to be a good chance it's going to be a concrete structure. And you might say, well, what was the building used for, and what about the age of the building? That can have some impacts.